All right, so are you ready to really dive deep into Seth Godin's This is Marketing?
I'm ready.
We're not just skimming the surface here. We're going deep with Derek Sivers' personal notes on the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like having a cheat sheet to some really potent marketing wisdom.
And this is coming from Derek Sivers,
That's
right?
Exactly.
The guy who built CD Baby from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not just some, armchair theorist.
Right. He's lived this stuff.
He's been in the trenches, yeah.
Exactly. And Sivers, he boils it all down to 5 core steps.
Okay.
Starting with making something truly worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Something with a story that people actually care about.
Right. It's got to have heart.
Yeah.
It's not about churning out products for the masses.
Right.
It's about designing for a specific audience.
Okay.
Those people who are most likely to resonate with what you're putting out there.
But how do we even begin to understand that audience?
Right.
I mean, really get inside their heads.
Well, Sivers dives into that with this idea of sonder. So have you ever thought about how everyone around you has an inner life as rich and complex as your own?
Yeah.
Their own dreams, worries, hopes.
Right.
It's about recognizing that everyone has a story.
Wow. Yeah, that's a powerful thought.
It is.
So how do we use that in marketing?
It helps us connect more authentically.
Okay.
It's about tapping into those underlying motivations, the things that truly drive people.
Okay.
Sivers calls it the basket of desires.
Okay.
Things like adventure, belonging, control, creativity.
Right.
These are universal desires.
So instead of focusing on the features and benefits of what we're selling,
Yeah.
we should be thinking about which of those desires we're actually fulfilling.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's not just about the product. It's about what that product represents to the customer.
Right.
Sivers has this great line in his notes.
Okay.
He says, people are intimately aware of their wants, which they think of as needs, but they are absolutely terrible at inventing new ways to address those wants.
Okay, that really clicks for me. Yeah. We're not just selling a solution, we're offering a way to tap into those deep-seated desires.
Absolutely.
But how do we stand out in such a crowded marketplace?
Right.
There's so much noise out there.
Yeah, that's where creating tension comes in.
Tension.
Yeah, think of it like this. The arrival of those mega casinos in Vegas changed the game.
Okay.
Suddenly, the old, familiar casinos seemed lackluster.
Right.
Sivers uses this to illustrate how introducing something new and exciting can shake things up and redefine expectations.
So it's not just about being different.
Yeah.
It's about being different in a way that creates a sense of urgency or a need to adapt.
Absolutely. It's about challenging the status quo.
So I guess the big question for our listeners is what kind of tension can they create?
Yeah, good question.
What can they offer that truly disrupts those existing patterns and makes people take notice?
It's a challenge for sure.
Right.
But if you can nail that, you're on your way to building a strong brand.
And when Sivers talks about brand, he's not just talking about logos and slogans.
Right.
Yeah, he defines it as a shorthand for the customer's expectations. It's about consistency, trust,
Yeah.
delivering on that promise every time.
For sure.
But what about authenticity?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every marketer is shouting about being authentic these days.
Yeah, Sivers actually pushes back on that a bit.
Does he?
He says, authenticity in the marketplace can be a myth.
A myth.
It's not about bringing all your personal baggage to your work.
Okay.
It's about showing up professionally, being reliable.
Right.
He calls this emotional labor.
Meaning we have to deliver value consistently,
Yeah.
even when we're not feeling our best.
Think about your favorite restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
You don't expect the chef to only cook when they're in a good mood.
Right.
They have a job to do, a standard to uphold.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about being consistent and reliable,
Right.
not just sharing every fleeting feeling.
Okay.
But doesn't that contradict the idea of connecting authentically with your audience?
Well, it's about finding that balance.
Okay.
You can be professional and reliable while still being genuine.
Right.
And that ties directly into building trust and permission.
Permission.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this idea of permission marketing. So many people are just blasting out messages hoping something sticks.
Yeah.
Sivers seems to be advocating for a more respectful approach.
Right. He's not a fan of relying too heavily on platforms like Facebook,
Really?
where you're basically renting attention.
Interesting.
You need to own your connection with your audience.
So how do we actually build that connection?
Yeah.
How do we get permission to be in someone's inbox or show up in their social media feed?
That's where things get interesting.
So it sounds like we need to shift our mindset
Yeah.
from interrupting people to inviting them in.
Exactly. It's about understanding that attention is a gift.
Okay.
Sivers is a big proponent of building an email list.
An email list.
Not just any list, though.
Okay.
A list of people who genuinely want to hear from you.
So how do we get them to opt in?
Right.
What makes people want to give us that permission in the first place?
Think about it like a trade.
A trade.
You're offering something valuable,
Okay.
insightful content, exclusive deals, early access,
Right.
in exchange for their email address.
Okay.
It's about building a relationship based on mutual benefit.
I like that.
Yeah.
Two-way street, not just a one-sided blast of information.
Exactly.
Oh.
And when you have that permission,
Okay.
you can start to deepen the connection by crafting a compelling narrative.
Okay.
Sivers talks about the power of storytelling in marketing.
Storytelling.
Not just any story, though.
Okay.
He breaks it down into 3 parts.
3 parts.
The story of self,
Okay.
the story of us,
Okay.
and the story of now.
Okay, that's interesting. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure.
What does he mean by the story of self?
It's your origin story. Why you do, what makes you tick.
Right.
It's about establishing your credibility and relatability. You're basically saying, hey, I'm just like you. I've faced challenges, I've learned things, and I want to share that with you.
It's like building that common ground.
Right.
That Me Too moment that helps people connect.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then there's the story of us.
Us.
This is where you build a sense of belonging and shared purpose.
Okay.
You're inviting people to be part of something bigger than themselves.
Right.
A community of like-minded individuals.
So it's not just about you as the expert or the creator.
Right.
It's about creating a sense of shared journey.
Right. It's about saying, we're in this together.
Okay. I like that.
And finally, there's the story of now,
Story of now.
which creates that sense of urgency and momentum.
Okay.
It's your call to action.
Call to action.
You're essentially saying, this is happening now, and you can be a part of it.
I can see how those 3 stories work together
Yeah.
to create a really powerful narrative. But getting back to permission marketing, how do we actually break through the noise and grab people's attention in the first place?
That's where the idea of pattern interrupts comes in.
Pattern interrupts.
Sivers dives into this concept.
Okay.
And it's fascinating.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
What exactly is a pattern interrupt, and how can we use it in marketing?
Think about your daily routine.
Okay.
It's predictable.
Right.
You wake up,
Yeah.
check your phone, you grab coffee, you commute to work.
Right.
A pattern interrupt is something that disrupts that routine,
Okay.
forcing you to pay attention.
Like a sudden detour on your commute
Yes,
that forces you to take a different route.
exactly. And just like that detour can make you more aware of your surroundings.
Right.
A pattern interrupt in marketing can make people pay attention to your message.
So what are some practical ways to create these pattern interrupts?
Yeah.
Is it about being shocking or controversial?
It doesn't have to be about shock value. It can be about using humor,
Okay.
unexpected visuals, or even asking a thought-provoking question
Okay.
that challenges people's assumptions.
So it's about shaking things up,
Right.
but doing it in a way that's relevant to your audience and your message.
Absolutely. Remember that example Sivers uses about those high-end casinos in Vegas?
Yeah.
They disrupted the pattern for tourists,
Right.
forcing them to reconsider what they wanted from their experience.
It wasn't just about being different. It was about being different in a way that created a sense of agency and exclusivity.
Exactly. And that's what you want to aim for with your marketing.
Okay.
You want to create a pattern interrupt that makes people stop, think, and say, wait a minute, I need to check this out.
That sounds like a great approach.
It is.
But it also sounds like a tightrope walk.
Yeah.
How do we disrupt patterns without alienating our audience?
Right.
Or coming across as gimmicky?
It's about understanding your audience deeply enough
Yep.
to know what will resonate with them.
Right.
You need to know their pain points, their aspirations, their values.
So it's not just about throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
No.
It's about crafting a pattern interrupt that's strategically aligned with your audience and your message.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting.
It feels like we're talking about walking a tightrope
Yeah.
between standing out and staying true to ourselves.
Right.
How do we reconcile those two things?
Well, that's the art of marketing, isn't it?
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Okay.
where you're being authentic to your brand while also appealing to your target audience.
Right.
And a big part of that, as we've been discussing, is earning permission.
This idea of permission marketing keeps coming up.
It does.
It seems so counterintuitive
Yeah.
to how many people approach marketing.
I think it's because we're bombarded with so much noise these days.
Right.
You know, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we need to shout louder to be heard.
Right.
But Sivers makes a compelling case for building a loyal audience
Okay.
that actually wants to hear from you.
Okay, I'm sold on the idea.
Okay.
But how do we do it in practice?
Yeah.
How do we shift from interrupting to inviting?
It starts with recognizing that attention is valuable,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be treated as such.
Okay.
Think about your own inbox.
Okay.
Are you more likely to open an email from a company that bombards you with daily promotions?
Right.
Or one that sends you genuinely valuable content once a week?
Definitely the latter.
Right.
I'd much rather receive something that feels tailored to my interests.
Yeah.
Not just a generic blast.
Exactly. And that's what Sivers is getting at.
Okay.
It's about building a relationship with your audience based on respect and mutual benefit.
So it's not just about collecting email addresses.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a community of engaged subscribers who trust you and value what you have to offer.
Precisely. And that trust is built over time
Okay.
through consistent effort and genuine connection.
Sippers had that great point about not being a sharecropper on someone else's platform.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, it makes you realize how important it is to own your audience,
Right.
not just rent their attention.
Building your own platform, whether it's an email list, a website, or a podcast, gives you the freedom to connect with your audience on your own terms.
And that freedom allows you to really nurture those relationships and build that long-term loyalty.
It does.
It's not about quick wins. It's about creating something sustainable and meaningful.
Now, this might sound like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
And it is.
Right.
But the rewards can be immense.
Okay.
When you have a loyal audience that trusts you, they become your advocates.
Sivers talked about that.
Yeah.
How the best marketing is when people are talking about themselves, not you.
It is the best, isn't it?
Yeah, they're saying, look at how good my taste is because I found this amazing product.
Exactly.
Or look how smart I am for following this insightful creator.
That's the goal.
It's brilliant, right?
It is.
Because you're tapping into that inherent desire to share things that make us look good.
Right.
Things that align with our values.
Makes us feel good.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's not about bragging or self-promotion.
No.
It's about giving your audience something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Something that they genuinely want to share with their friends.
And that's the ultimate goal of marketing, isn't it?
It is.
To create something so valuable, so resonant, so compelling
Right.
that it spreads organically.
This whole deep dive has been packed with so many insightful takeaways.
Oh, it has.
If we were to distill it all down to a few key points, what would you say are the most important things for our listeners to remember?
Oh, I think it boils down to this. Marketing with heart.
Marketing with heart.
It's about making a genuine impact, connecting with people on a deeper level,
Right.
and offering them something truly valuable.
And to do that effectively,
Yeah.
we need to understand our audience, craft a compelling story, and earn their permission to be a part of our journey.
It's not about hype or manipulation.
Right.
It's about building authentic relationships
Yeah.
based on trust and mutual benefits.
So if you're ready to make a change in the world through your work, this is the blueprint.
This is it.
Take these insights from Seth Godin and Derek Sivers
Yeah.
and start building something meaningful.
You got this.
If this deep dive has sparked some ideas for you, we'd love to hear about it.
We would.
Keep diving deep and keep making those positive changes